In a universe rife with possibilities, Summer Nansen finds herself living her life on autopilot. That is, until a once-in-a-lifetime experience gives her the chance to do and say the things she's wanted to for so long, reconnecting with her 3 friends who she has drifted away from over the years. This is Summer at the Edge of the Universe. Hello everyone, Noah Novels here, and today's video is a bit different than usual. I, along with other visual novel content creators and streamers, have been given exclusive early access to the demo of Studio Élan's newest visual novel currently in production, Summer at the Edge of the Universe. For those who don't know, Studio Élan is a visual novel development studio whose primary focus is yuri visual novels that typically involve some element of fantasy or magic. And this solar punk visual novel about a young woman trying to reconnect with her best friends from high school seems to be no different. I have only personally read 2 of their previous titles, Heart of the Woods and Please Be Happy, so it might be a bit weird to say this, but I am a huge fan of their works. Please Be Happy was one of the most pleasant visual novel reading experiences I've had in recent memory, and Heart of the Woods is a thrilling modern-day fairy tale epic romance. So with that being said, big thanks to Studio Élan for trusting me with early access to the demo of Summer at the Edge of the Universe. I love talking about visual novels, I really admire your work, and being given early access to the first chapter of this visual novel story to talk about on my channel means a lot to me. So with that all being said, I will be doing a mini review of sorts going over my thoughts and impressions of Summer at the Edge of the Universe. Summer at the Edge of the Universe follows our main character Summer Nansen, who lives a simple but content life with her parents in her hometown. When she's not picking up and discarding hobbies haphazardly, you can find her helping at the local community center, or hosting her own radio show where she talks about her life and plays music she likes. And while she is comfortable and happy in this mundane lifestyle, she can't help but feel like she's missing out on so many possibilities out there. Space travel is easily accessible and there's a whole universe out there waiting for her to explore and just live. Yet she doesn't have the resolve to break free from her everyday life. She doesn't even know if she truly wants to. However, a once-in-a-lifetime experience is approaching. Her universe is actually passing by a nearby universe. And while she doesn't personally care about the implications of this or the spectacle of it all, what she does care about is the people it brings to her town. Specifically, her 3 close friends from high school, who she has drifted away from over the years, are all coming back to her town to witness this spectacle. And maybe it's the lost relationships or presence of these friends in her life that she truly wants the most, and can even start an exciting new chapter of her life. This is what Summer at the Edge of the Universe, or rather its first chapter that can be read through in its demo, is about. On the page dedicated to this visual novel on Studio Élan's website, you can see this visual novel described as an intergalactic adventure to the very boundaries of existence, where the cast will travel from planet to planet, exploring the natural wonders and diverse alien cultures that they come across. So yeah, it's essentially a space road trip story, and this first chapter is essentially the build-up needed to reach the start of Summer at the Edge of the Universe's premise. But don't let me saying that this chapter is build-up fool you. This demo still contains a wonderfully written story that feels satisfying by its conclusion. A conclusion that develops the characters in meaningful ways, while still making it very clear that there is still so much story left to tell with these characters. The possibilities as endless as the universe they will no doubt explore in the full game. This demo is only a small fraction of the story, but I am already in love with these characters and the setting. This is definitely helped by the game's stellar art and soundtrack, which bring the vibrant and interesting characters and setting of this visual novel to breathtaking life. The whole thing just imbues you with a sense of equal parts adventure and peace. It's just so damn pleasant and charming to read, which really lines up with one of the core tenets for the game being good vibes only, according to their website. That's not to say this visual novel is all happy vibes with no substance though. There is a lot to offer in Summer at the Edge of the Universe's story. Summer's insecurity about her ordinary life for starters. Summer realizes her life has become stagnant and that she yearns for something more, but despite years of trying to figure things out, nothing's come of it. And I get that. I may only be 23 years old, but there's been plenty of times in my life after high school that I feel like I'm not advancing in life or growing as a person, especially before this YouTube channel and love for acting and voice acting gave me something to pour my passion into. I just felt directionless and empty, and hell, I still do sometimes. Even as I'm consistently uploading visual novel and review star-like content and am so close to graduating college, It's just a complicated feeling to deal with, and this story tackles that feeling and how to deal with it through Summer's character extremely well, all while not drowning itself in melancholy. The story in this first chapter deals with a lot of heavy and serious topics, such as what I just mentioned, but it never gets too dreary or bleak with its prose. I think a big part of living a fulfilling and satisfying life is staying positive even in the hard times. And Summer at the Edge of the Universe shows the importance of staying optimistic and hopeful even in times of uncertainty and doubt. You shouldn't ignore the problems or situations you're facing, but you shouldn't let them completely dictate your life or how you feel either. And this visual novel story does a great job of showing that through its writing and Summer's inner monologues. This is also another thing that Please Be Happy does extremely well too. I just wanted to plug that in since I don't have a dedicated video for it. Go play Please Be Happy. Other things that Summer at the Edge of the Universe tackles is how easy but painful it can be to drift away from your friends over time. I think that's something most people, if not everyone, can relate to. If you want to hear my insecurities relating to that, check out my review of Starlight Shores. But sometimes stuff happens and you drift apart, and the longer you wait to reconnect with the people you care about, the harder it gets. Summer at the Edge of the Universe's first chapter tackles this subject matter really well through Summer's character and the actions she takes throughout the story, showing the importance of taking action yourself sometimes. After all, if you're not satisfied with the way things are in your life or the people you're missing, chances are nothing's going to change unless you make that change or take that action. It might be awkward or messy, especially depending on how you left things off with the last time you saw these people. But if they are truly friends that you want back in your life, it's worth all the effort and awkward silences. I really admire the way this first chapter tackles that idea. Like I said, it never becomes unbearably cynical, but it also doesn't shy away from how difficult and trying these things can be. This group of friends, they've all been living their own lives since they've drifted apart. They've grown, and they all have history, some of which seems to be complicated. Of course, getting the gang back together isn't going to be seamless, but if they all truly want the same thing, to rekindle their lost friendship, I think they'll be able to work through their differences and become as close as they once were. Or who knows, maybe they'll become even more than just friends. The full game will feature 3 routes, one for each of Summer's friends presumably, and each route will contain both a romantic and platonic ending. And that's really cool to see. Obviously, I have no problem with romantic stories, I actually quite enjoy them, but I think it's cool to see visual novels that are willing to show the importance of all kinds of relationships and bonds. Not just romantic ones, but the platonic bonds of friendship as well. That's quite the ambitious task, and I look forward to seeing the various different routes and endings that the full VN will have upon its release. I'm almost done singing this visual novel's praises. However, there are a few more things I'd like to talk about quickly. While I have spent a good chunk of this video talking about Summer's character specifically and how much I like her, the rest of the cast is also great. Specifically, her 3 friends, Quinn Sun, Hannah Reed, and Isabella Lancaster. While they don't all get as extensive growth or focus as Summer does in this chapter of the story, they are all still compelling and unique characters in their own right. They all have their own backstories and relationships to one another, and you can really feel the former camaraderie between them slowly coming back. I can really see how this group of people used to be close friends, not just because the story tells me that, but because of the natural dialogue and writing surrounding them. And while I did just say they don't all have as notable an arc as the main character Summer, I do think they still change in important ways. Whether it's their decisions or how they interact with one another, these characters are different by the end of the demo than how they were when they first appeared in the story, even if it's only in subtle or minor ways. And naturally, since a full release is coming, you can tell there's still a lot more story to tell with these characters, their backstories, emotional baggage, and their relationships with one another. I can't wait to see how Summer and everyone else change throughout the various routes of the story, but for now, this first chapter is a great introduction to all the characters and the start to their journey. Another thing I want to mention is the voice acting. I think every character is well cast, and every VA gives a memorable performance. I don't know what else to say. It's kind of hard to talk about standout performances since this is only the first chapter, but I do think Angel Ray does a great job as Summer and really nails the more emotional moments for her character throughout the story.
You guys don't even know. It's the most right I've felt in years.
But overall, everyone involved did a great job. And lastly, the UI. In the 2 Studio Élan titles I have read, Please Be Happy and Heart of the Woods, I found the UI in both games to be equal parts functional and satisfying to look at, with special praise to Please Be Happy's UI being stylized like a book, which fit well with Aspen's character and the setting of Juliet's library. And I'm happy to report that Summer at the Edge of the Universe joins the club of Studio Élan titles with good UI. There's not much to say other than it looks really nice, with a color palette and style that matches the VN, and it's easy to navigate. Oh, and there's also a ton of save slots, which I always appreciate. But yeah, that just about wraps things up. Summer at the Edge of the Universe looks to be a compelling, emotional, and adventurous story, and I can't wait for the eventual future release of this game. If the first chapter, which makes up the demo to this title, is any indication, we are in for a story with unique and memorable characters, tackling important issues and topics with a beautiful balance of optimism and realism. I can't wait to see how this story of Summer reconnecting with her friends throughout space will inspire me to become an astronaut, just as how Please Be Happy inspired me to go to New Zealand so I can drink some coffee in a library. In all seriousness though, this seems to be another high-quality title from Studio Élan, with lots of love and care put into every aspect of it. The high-quality writing, the gorgeous artwork, the beautiful soundtrack, the great voice acting,
Actually, I didn't mean that. I meant more like...
the high production values with its presentation, and I love how the demo itself doesn't just cut off abruptly at some random or awkward moment in the story. It offers a satisfying and emotional journey with powerful themes and character growth, and it's a great launchpad for the eventual story to follow. I don't really see the point in scoring this demo since it's only a fraction of the full story, but if I were to, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. It does everything it sets out to do, and it does so beautifully, and in good time too. It's about the same length as Please Be Happy's demo, which also covers the first chapter of its story. But if you're a fan of Yuri visual novels, or realistic and memorable characters, or fantasy and sci-fi stories, or visual novels with unique and gorgeous presentation, I would keep your eye on Studio Élan's Summer at the Edge of the Universe, if for no other reason than to see Best Girl Hannah Reid in action. I know it may be a bit early to declare any character Best Girl, but I don't know. I like her design, her interactions and dynamic with all the characters, and I just think that she's neat. I can't wait to see her eventual route in the full game. Once again, a big thank you to Studio Élan for providing me with early access to the demo of Summer at the Edge of the Universe. I really love your work, and I can't wait to see what you have in store for us in the future, including of course the eventual full release of Summer at the Edge of the Universe. I know I did say earlier that this demo is only available to visual novel content creators and streamers, but there is actually one other way to play it yourself now if you have any interest, by subscribing to Studio Élan's Patreon. I highly recommend doing this if you have the money to spare, not just for the demo, but because this team makes really high quality and memorable visual novels, and I think helping them continue to do so is a really cool thing. But hey, don't let me tell you how to spend your money. I bought a plush of Miho from Please Be Happy to keep me company while I record the audio to these videos because I'm so alone. And as always, thank you to everyone for watching this video. For those who have played some of Studio Élan's past titles, which one is your personal favorite and why? In case it isn't obvious, I really like talking about visual novels, so getting to talk about this developer whose work I definitely need to read more of in the future sounds like a fun time to me. And for those who aren't familiar with Studio Élan's visual novels, I hope I was able to pique your interest and go play Please Be Happy. What are you doing? It's so damn pleasant and calming to read, just go do it! Lastly, thank you as always to the great editor of this video, OtakuBox. A link to his channel can be found in the description, and I highly recommend checking out some of the cool content he has to offer. Thank you as always to everyone for watching. Please consider subscribing to this channel if you want to see more visual novel and anime related content, and I will see you all in the next video.